The finished image lasts only a few seconds. Hart steps out of a car in Paris and turns toward the cameras. The clothes appear inevitable, as if the right dress found the right body at the right hour. Then, the image enters the feed, where elegance looks effortless. What disappears is the machinery that made the moment possible. The fitting, styling, makeup, transport, negotiation, filming, editing, posting, and years of relationship building before the invitation arrived. That disappearance is not a flaw in luxury, it is the product. Luxury has always sold the fantasy that difficulty can be removed from life. Social media modernized the illusion by making the result feel immediate and personal. The audience no longer encounters only an advertisement approved by a fashion house. It follows an individual through hotel rooms, airport corridors, show entrances, and private exhaustion. Hart's importance lies in how completely she has learned to operate within this system while making the operation resemble self-expression. Her public identity existed long before the front row. Years in Philippine entertainment gave her recognition, camera discipline, and an audience. But celebrity in one industry did not automatically guarantee authority in another. Hart has said that she initially attended fashion shows as a member of the press. She gradually built a portfolio and relationships with brands so that she could be invited under her own name, not merely occupy a seat intended for someone else. The distinction sounds small, but it describes the conversion of fame into a new profession. That profession is often misunderstood because its main evidence is a photograph. At Fashion Week, however, visibility is measurable labor. An appearance can generate articles, videos, comments, and reposts across several markets. Analytics companies assign value to that circulation, helping brands decide which guest attracts attention. The influencer is part model, publisher, distributor, translator, and advertising channel. Hart performs those roles with a specifically Filipino audience behind her. A European fashion house may provide the setting, but the engagement travels through viewers who understand her history, language, humor, and position at home. When she wears couture while preparing a familiar canned meal, the contrast is not random. It collapses the distance between an elite global object and an ordinary Philippine reference. The clothes remain inaccessible, but the joke makes the image culturally available. This is a new form of fashion power. For most viewers, the front row is a story they join through attention. They identify the designer, debate the styling, defend the wearer, and experience foreign recognition as a shared victory. The luxury object is privately held, but its symbolic value is produced collectively. People who will never buy the dress help make its wearer valuable to the company that made it. That arrangement complicates the familiar criticism that luxury content is merely shallow. Clothing is never only cloth. Once a society uses it to rank class, gender, taste, respectability, and belonging, Hart has repeatedly described fashion as armor, a way to manage insecurity, build confidence, and present herself before a room has decided who she should be. The metaphor is revealing. Armor is decorative only from a distance. To the person inside it, its first purpose is protection. Fashion offered Hart a form of authorship different from acting. An actor enters a character shaped by a script, director, network, and ratings. Personal style allows the body itself to become the composition. Silhouette, color, movement, and reference can communicate before dialogue begins. In interviews, she has described international fashion as a place where she can express herself without the competition of television roles. Dressing becomes not an escape from serious identity, but one method of constructing it. Her work as a visual artist makes that construction easier to see. Under the name Love Marie, she has exhibited paintings and extended her art onto luxury bags. The gesture changes the object. A bag normally derives authority from a house, logo, and scarcity. A painted surface carries the visible decision of an individual hand. The owner becomes a collaborator rather than only a consumer. Even within the strict codes of luxury, authorship can be reclaimed by leaving a mark the manufacturer did not supply. But armor has weight. In 2024, Hart disclosed that she had lost consciousness during Milan Fashion Week after a period of exhaustion. The incident punctured the fantasy of effortless movement from show to show. Behind each polished appearance is a body that must keep time with a global content calendar. The industry rewards constant presence, yet the creator's physical limit cannot be negotiated like a seat or a garment loan. When visibility becomes work, disappearance can feel like professional failure even when rest is necessary. There's also a social weight to luxury in the Philippines. Extreme beauty and expense appear on the same screen as insecure work, disasters, and frustration over inequality. A fashion image does not cause those conditions, but neither does it circulate outside them. In September 2025, Hart said she would skip the approaching Milan and Paris fashion weeks because she did not think it was the right time for Filipinos to be abroad with luxury brands. The decision acknowledged that style is never seen in a vacuum. That does not require public figures to dress down permanently or apologize for every expensive possession. Moral seriousness cannot be measured by the price of a handbag alone. It does require recognizing that aspiration has politics. An image can invite viewers to admire craft, discipline, and imaginative self-invention. It can also teach that foreign labels are the clearest proof of success. The ethical question is not whether people should desire beauty. It is who gets to define beauty, whose labor receives credit, and what kind of life the desire asks them to consider complete. Hart has said that she wants to use international attention to support Filipino designers and talent. That ambition matters because global fashion still organizes prestige through a small number of cities, publications, and houses. A Filipina arriving in Paris may be celebrated at home as evidence that the country has finally been noticed. Yet the celebration contains a trap. If recognition from abroad becomes the highest certificate of worth, Filipino creativity remains dependent on a foreign gaze. Her strongest cultural role is therefore not simply representing the Philippines inside luxury. It is redirecting the attention luxury gives her. When a local designer, craft tradition, song, or reference enters the same frame, the image can widen the public idea of what deserves prestige. Representation then becomes more than the sight of a Filipino face in an exclusive room. It becomes leverage, the ability to bring other names, histories, and forms of work into view. This is why her dream of eventually creating a public showroom for her couture archive is more interesting than another purchase. She has imagined displaying garments, notes from designers, and pieces by Filipino creators as a history open to other people. The proposal transforms a private closet into a record. Clothes stop functioning only as evidence that one person possessed them and begin to document relationships, labor, and a particular era in which a Filipina learned to move through global fashion's gates. Still, access does not dissolve hierarchy. The influencer offers intimacy with an inaccessible world, but she controls the door. Viewers see packing, preparation, fatigue, and fragments of private emotion, then feel that they understand the person beneath the polish. The feeling can be sincere without being equal. The audience gives sustained attention. The creator receives it as affection, data, market value, and pressure. Luxury becomes relatable not because everyone can own it, but because everyone can participate in watching it. The danger is that the watched person can slowly become inseparable from the image required of her. When every arrival must be memorable, ordinary presence starts to resemble absence. A repeated outfit becomes a failure of novelty. Aging becomes a threat to continuity. Rest becomes lost momentum. The armor that once created freedom can become a uniform that must be worn to preserve the freedom it produced. Hart's career in fashion is therefore not best understood as a catalog of clothes or a scoreboard of invitations. It is a long experiment in turning attention into authorship. She uses an image built partly by entertainment, brands, artists, workers, photographers, platforms, and fans, while attempting to remain the person who decides what that image means. Her real achievement is not that luxury appears natural around her. It is that she has made the production of visibility into a recognizable field of Filipino ambition. The final question is, what remains when the cameras turn towards someone else? Clothes can preserve a moment, but they cannot preserve the self by themselves. A photograph proves that a person was seen. It does not prove that the gaze understood her. Perhaps the deepest luxury is not unlimited access to beautiful things, but the power to meet the world's attention without becoming its property. Style becomes freedom only when the image remains a language the wearer can revise, not a room she must live inside. The finest armor, after all, is not the one that never comes off. It is the one a person can set down and still know who has been carrying it.